Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on April 24th, 2023 at approximately 4:23 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally live by. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the philosophies that guide my life on a day-to-day basis. Now, before I get any further, we have eternity in with the gold, iVoices is in with the silver, and Nylock has come in with the bronze. How are we all doing so far? And there comes Adam right through the door with honorable mention. I do apologize. Well, not really. Life goes on. Things have been, to say the least, a little scattered this last couple of weeks here, between energy fluctuations and household necessities with family. And I'm not talking about problems. A heart attack, that was a minor annoyance in my eyes. The new computer, Derek, is not in yet. I've got it, but we are actually installing it on Saturday, this coming Saturday. The tech is coming in to make sure everything is installed. Just boiled down to an issue of a problem with available time. He met me down there and down at Best Buy and made sure I got all the stuff that I required. Okay. And then we set up the time for him to actually come here and install the whole thing. Now I'm playing around with a couple of ideas, but for the moment, things have to sit. So the computer, just to be clear here, I haven't opened it, and I told him I wasn't going to. But this is now I know you can't see it because I told him I would not open the thing at all. And therefore, but that is the new computer. It'll go right where this one is sitting. That was your disaster. And just to make matters better, here's the rest of the shopping. And I'm managing getting a put that down there before it falls. Ended up getting a keyboard and mouse, it's still a wired one, because I'm still very much a dinosaur. And then we have a docking station with, let's see, 1, 2, 3 USB, and looks like 2 HDMI. Okay. That's the light, so I've got enough power to run my monitors with. And of course, this funny little thing is a 5 terabyte hard drive. The Office program to run my writing on, and of course this little monster, a booster pack because I've got to be on Wi-Fi down here. So that should clear up part of this mess. So that's what I'm dealing with. But I appreciate that, Joe. I quite frankly missed being here. It was just unfortunately the way it had to go. Okay. My energy levels were a little screwy, and of course, trying to get things sorted out financially and getting my own family running properly had to take precedence. Tomorrow I know I won't be on. This week's going to be a little screwy. Because tomorrow I can't be on because I've got an appointment with the bank to get that all sorted out. Well, yeah, and I agree with you there, Derek, especially with my ability to interrupt the flow. That's why I decided it was going hardwired. You don't get all the extra bells and whistles, but frankly, I don't require them. Okay, so I know tomorrow, like I was supposed to be planning something out today, but the way my day's been going, well, the way my last week and a half has been going, finances are getting in track, but I do have to. I should try and do that today. My printer is sitting right beside me, although I might be replacing it. Right, we'll see how that works. Because I'm going to have to get one. I think I've got to upgrade my printer as well, but I'll take a look. But I've got a number of things set up to go. The last week has been just absolutely horrendous where it comes to finance and to expenditures. But as near as I can figure, I've got about 3 months of food in my house now that none of it requires actually cooking. Now, don't get me wrong, I still intend on cooking, but in case of a hiccup, I've got the food in the house now. And this is why I was referring to, about the idea of making I'm just reading what you wrote there, Derek. Derek's just written, do me a favor. I want you to go to Tommy Truthful 369 YouTube channel. YouTube takes his videos down a lot and blocks the channel like they just took down all but one of his videos. From his page yesterday. But he still has one up. That dude knows a lot of ancient secrets of the global cabal of this world. Now, here's I will see if I've got the time to sort that out. I will tell you, Derek, a lot of what people are calling secrets, I'm finding are, number one, misleading. Okay. And yeah, I realize I'm speaking without any research done. The reason I don't do the research is because most of it comes from the same place. But like I said, I will see what I can do about taking a look at it. Okay. And the fact that YouTube, the thing you've got to look at when it comes to YouTube rules, as in their laws, karmic law is straightforward. Okay. You must follow the laws of the land in which you are, which is a subset of do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Okay. Now, I know there's a lot of questions out there. Oh, there you go. Well, do make sure you stay driving safe there, Adam. The reality of the world is this. There is so much stuff that people are talking about. Okay, and do not get me wrong. This world is not perfect by any functional stretch. But what we do have to remember is if we're going to focus on on a lot of people and I'm just talking general overview. I have not looked at Tommy Truthful yet. Okay, I haven't looked at his at all. But what I found in the past with virtually everybody else is there's a lot of fear mongering going on, a lot of pointing the fingers, and this is something that creates a problem. Okay. And am I going to go and try and go to any video and try and debunk it or try and say, oh, the guy is absolutely full of it? For all I know, I could be so far off kilter, okay, that it's just absolutely insane. But as I said, Derek, I will go and take a look at it, absolutely. I'm in the middle of where am I? I've got We're going to try one thought at a time. What do you think? Okay, you've got to stay there. What? There it is. Move you out of the way. So I have to, when I get, this is just the stuff, and again, I've got that funny little pad. Yeah, it's a cutting board, but it works like a charm. I've got a number of things that I have to take a look at. Now, I was supposed to get things set up to deal with, I was planning on getting things set up to deal with rituals today. Of course, I missed Sunday altogether, but that's because I was just completely worn out. Between the stresses and what have you of day-to-day life and trying to get things organized, it does have a tendency of running, Oh, that is so fantastic, Derek. Yeah, Derek's just saying the old man is out of the hospital. Hospital St. Vincent's in Middleburg, Florida is horrible. He got out of the hospital, but now he has rashes all over his bottom. Sad to say, this is one of the reasons, like I look at hospitals, and you got to remember, nothing against the doctors or the nurses at all. But you're taking a whole pile of sick people and taking them into a place to hold them all together. And I'm telling you, I've been telling people this for years. Doctors have their work cut out for them, because when you've got that many illnesses in the air, they are going to cross-replicate. They're going to mutate. Okay, and then the doctors are likely going to go, no, that doesn't happen. Look at the situation, though. Okay, with that in mind, oh, by the way, with that in mind, I am glad he's out. The rash will go away in 2 or 3 days anyway. But how is he feeling? Better, I trust. Aside from the fact they let him out of the hospital means they figure he's doing better. See, the hospital, the emergency room up here in Kelowna, BC, in Canada, when I was in the hospital, when I had my heart attack back in 2013, was ranked the worst emergency room in the country. Holy mackerel. Well, at least they're consistent. The thing you have to realize is, well, I've come to understand, is this: when you're dealing with a corporation, when you're dealing with a government, you seem to have to know more than they do about what they're doing in order to make sure that it's getting done. Now, this does not mean you have to have a medical degree. This means you have to know, you have to accept in your own heart that if something doesn't make sense, then keep pushing for answers until you get the answer you're looking for. Or more to the point, until you get an answer that feels right and that feels accurate. I'm probably one of the worst patients to ever have, because I'll look at the doctor and go, I'm not doing that. Mind you, I won't turn around and tell the doctor that the doctor's incompetent. I'll just tell him I'm not doing that. When I broke my arm, I told the doctor then, they told me I needed to get it bolted. I looked at the doctor and said, I'm getting a second opinion. And he goes, but I'm the head of the orthopedic surgery department. I said, yeah. I said, but you have no clue what my healing rate looks like. But the fact he's out of the hospital is absolutely fantastic. Eric, sad to say, that is not reassuring. I mean, it's understandable, but it's certainly not reassuring. It was funny. My older brother, he passed away a decade ago, but he was an LPN, and he used to rehab quadriplegics for independent living. But he had a unique way about him. When they refused to use the wheelchair, he'd steal it and then tell them if they wanted, like he'd bring it over to the bed, tell them to get into the wheelchair. They'd argue the point and go, I can't. So he'd take it across the room, and set it down across the room and say, okay, when you can, get over there and get into it. You know, he had it, but he was loved by his patients because he really did turn around and make them feel like they could do whatever they set their mind to. You know, but what I'm in the process of doing right now, I've got to check measurements and what have you. Oh, that was what I was going to be doing here. I have to get a hold of my artist in England, respond to my artist down in Texas. By the way, I don't know if I've got it. I should check that while I'm on air here. Let me just see here. Not Disney. I require going to, where is it? Let's take a look and see if we actually got it in. I think we did. What I'm referring to is the email with the newest pictures. Let me see here. That's cute. I require going into my email. And what do I got here? Here we are. I got a couple of things I have to work out that I've got to get in touch with my artist in Texas for. But let us see. Okay. Now, yeah, I've got the last 5 pictures for Races of the Worlds. I've got the rough draft in my possession. So I've got to set up a time now to hash things out, as it were. Oh, let me see. I got to get where I can actually read that. Okay, iVoice is going, what is asking, what did the aliens think of World War II? And did they help out any of the armies? Well, we'll start with the answer as far as I've ever understood it. The answer where it comes to did they help any of the enemies? No. Okay, now here's the thing. Rumor had it, and in this case, it's as close to fact as we're going to get. Rumor had it that Hitler was in touch with some aliens regarding weaponry and what have you. Well, we'll start with he was, but so was virtually every other major power on the playing field at the same time. Not always with the same people. Okay, did the aliens aid any one of the nations in the actual war? The answer is no. That goes against their entire protocol. They are not here to fight mankind's wars. They are not here to instigate them. And from their standpoint, had they been involved in the war would have been over overnight. It would not have been a 6-year run. It would have been over and done with. Oh, I'm just looking at this here. Eric's just saying one faction helped the Nazis, and then there were the so-called Foo Fighters. You know, I'm not debating what the rumors were or what people were saying about it, but the reality, from my standpoint, I've seen what these guys do where it comes to war, and one of the standing jokes in the off-world community is for people that claim to be so good at war. Okay, why drag it out that long? And what's this idea of rules? Okay, the rules of war that mankind operates under are, to say the least, from the off-worlder standpoint, comical. Okay, because you got to remember, in their eyes, war is just not a good thing. You know, the neat thing about it, where it comes to the war, were there discussions with many of the nations and the off-world and various different off-worlders? Absolutely. But there is a categorical ban, okay, on the idea of sharing combat technology. with mankind, or for that matter, with any race. It would tilt the whole thing out of balance. It would tilt the entire evolutionary path out of line. I have a little bit of a problem here. So, I'm just rectifying it. The rectification, let's see here. Well, Eric, the sad reality is it's profitable for some people, but it is not an economy boost from anything I've ever seen. Certainly it is for the people that are handling the guns. Certainly it is for the governments making the laws and what have you. But it's not doing the people of the planet any good at all to speak of that I've been able to see. Okay. I mean, the reality is, if mankind wanted war to end, one of two things would happen. They'd get really good at absolute overkill. And yes, there would be a lot of collateral damage. Okay, a lot of innocent people would end up dead. Absolutely they would. And do understand, in no way is this to actually even come across remotely as my condoning war. War has never, in any civilization, brought peace. It's brought quiet, but it has never brought peace. And in all fairness, if you actually look at the track record, yes, war initiated gets a lot of people working. Okay, and gets a lot of people focusing on things. But the fact is, it's easier to do research when you're not ducking bullets. Okay, and that's just a simple little issue. I'm just looking. Derek goes, my legs constantly stay swollen. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. He says he has some kind of acupuncture technique that can help increase the blood flow in the legs. I have no doubt he does. One question for you, Derek. Does he by any chance, or more to the point, was he by any chance Chinese trained? Don't care what nationality he is. But if you're going to somebody trained in Chinese acupuncture, then yeah, it can work wonders. The other option that you've got that may also help, find a Reiki master. Get them to open and ask them to open your foot chakras. If they tell you they're minor chakras, walk away from them and find a different one. Okay, because I kid you not, I worked on a young lass's foot chakras years ago and pulled her out of a wheelchair as a side effect. Well, the answer there, Eric, I mean, the fact that you put could, the answer is absolutely yes, it could. Because you've always got the wild cards. You've always got the Mavericks. Raven, how you doing? Glad you could join us. So is it possible one could have had an accidental crash? Absolutely. It's kind of like humans accidentally releasing a virus. Okay, it can certainly be done. And this is not the same thing, by the way, as aiding any side. But am I going to speak to possibilities? No, because here's the reality of it. There was a young lass. There was decades back. There was an airline disaster. Now, normally, if a plane comes apart in the air, everybody's dead. This woman, got trapped in the tail end of the fuselage. Now, where it landed, I do not honestly recall. The point being, she rode the tail section without wings to the ground 6 miles and walked away with minor scratches and a whole lot of trauma. But, Is it possible to survive that? Certainly. Is it possible that some rogue faction got involved? Absolutely. But do understand the punishment for being caught being involved. And if you think mankind's bugs are good, you should try these guys. Let's see. Yeah. And, just the only thing I caution you the only thing I caution you on, as far as that goes, Derek, is do your own research. Okay, you've got the net. I am still a firm believer that talking to people directly will give you far more information than the net ever did. The reality of it is we are sitting in an extremely difficult time right now. From an off-world standpoint, we are sitting in an extremely exciting time. Okay, that being, from a xeno-socioeconomic standpoint, Earth society is evolving at an exponential level. Too bad it's kind of like going over the waterfalls in a canoe. Not necessarily an enjoyable trip. But can we turn this around? The answer is yes. Do we desire to turn around? I can't speak for any of you, but I'll tell you, I'm not happy with the way it is. So right now, let's see, I've got John, I've got Chris. I've got to deal with my will questionnaire, which also means hook up the printer. And yes, when this guy comes in, he's going to be sorting things out. Okay, making sure the whole 9 yards runs properly. At least that's the idea. Now, this might help a little. I didn't realize I'd done that. So how about if we drag that out from underneath that? I had the microphone pinned down under all the paper I was working on. So I mean, I look at the way this is going, and that this world is going, and go, hey, we have got to start working together. We absolutely have to. Now, yeah, I don't know if you caught the beginning of that, Eric, but the computer is in my house now, and this coming Saturday, the tech is coming over to install it. What is today? I wonder when that is. Okay, not this Wednesday, next Wednesday. Okay. Heads up, guys. Next Wednesday, I've got a phone meeting with a doctor that I'm going to have to tell what to do with herself, but that will unfortunately be taken when I'm supposed to. A couple of weeks has been absolutely nuts. Tomorrow, I've got an appointment with the bank at 4 o'clock, and it literally boils down to that's when I can get into the bank. Okay, because I've got to have my son out of school to do it. So the 25th, I won't be here. Not 25th, rather. Yeah, 25th, tomorrow. I won't be here. Okay, which is why I came on today. It's like, okay, I can't go leaving this go for a week or two. So it's just a question of getting things organized. Eric, in all fairness, Eric's just asking, how soon do you expect the off-worlders to reveal themselves fully to us? Okay, the thing you got to remember where it comes to the off-worlders revealing themselves en masse, and flip it on its ear. Now, I shouldn't say the entire society. We might luck out. Okay, because about 62% of people believe that off-worlders are here. That non-human races are abounding around us. Okay. So with that in mind, people may be a little more accepting, but claim they deal with them regularly and to believe in other races. It's another to believe to actually deal with it head on. I gotta go and grab a figure. One of the figures doesn't matter if it's one I've been working on, it's the size that matters. So give me, that sounds really bad, but give me half a set, guys. Wanted to get you something because I stumbled across a figure just today. Now this figure here is now this is a normal sized person in these figures. Okay, this one, call it 6 feet. Okay, but stumbled across this little critter today, so I picked him up. And I literally only got home just a bit before my son did, so didn't have a lot of time to get anything organized. Now, we have all talked about Alpha Draconis. Okay, or about Alpha Draconis. This is an absolutely perfect rendition of the Zarkon, the Alpha Draconis. Okay, absolutely perfect. But here, this will give you an idea. And this is exactly why I said when somebody came, I was talking to somebody, or more to the point, somebody came in the chat room, I think here, either in this chat room, no, I think it was another chat room, and mentioned they were a natural hybrid. They were a half-breed of a Draconis and a human. Well, picture, if you will, this being a 6 foot human. Now, we compare it to the Alpha Draconis and look at the size difference. Okay, can you see where we might have a problem with natural interaction? Okay, and yes, the blades are about the right size. Okay. But I've been trying to find figures that actually fit the different characters in my books. And you'll notice that tail end. Okay, at least I think you will. Okay, that is a spiked ball on his tail, also known as a weaponized tail. This might give you an idea. Now, these are the guys that people keep talking about coming in and quietly guiding or infiltrating governments and what have you. Can you picture somebody this size doing anything quietly? Okay. So this is just one of those neat little what is this? Derek's just going, Derek's asking, with a few more Harry Potter movies, none of the Harry Potter series is going to be cut out. And that's why they're going for 10 years. Everything from the book will be in the series. The answer to your question there, I voices, and people can do with it what they... Oh. I wonder if I'm even getting sound. This would not be a good thing. I don't even know how to check that side of it. So let me just see here. Okay. Best I can tell you, Joe, best I can tell you is from my end, it's coming through on the YouTube channel. See, now, in answer to that question there, iVoice, you know, have I seen him in the afterlife? The answer is yes. Therefore, do I know in my own heart that he's deceased? Yeah, he is not hiding in some luxury cabin where he's quietly living up the tail end of his life. Okay, that ended a long time ago. But understand, he's got to deal with his own stuff, and he did not get any breaks. And he didn't have any celebrity status to deal with, either by being, oh, good, Joe, glad to hear that. Joe, this is one of the things that I am hoping that putting the booster in here and getting it set up properly is going to solve. We take a look at it, okay, and when we're looking at the way the world is, the answer to that question, Eric, is quite frankly, yes, it is. Okay, and here's why. Some of the dragons, okay, now Chinese mythology, yes, Chinese mythology really revered the dragons in a lot of ways. Okay, in a lot of ways, Chinese mythology looked at the more positive side, the more ancient wisdom side of it, whereas Europeans looked at it from a much more violent fashion. Okay. See, now the Nephilim were a whole different ballgame. But is it technically possible? See, the answer is yes. Some dragons, okay, because of the level of their ability to manipulate reality, were able to physically take on the form of a human. Not just the illusion of it, but the actual physicality of it. Now, with this in mind, you would immediately end up with a mesh. Okay, the other thing you got to remember is anything that looked remotely like a dragon, okay, the early Chinese would see as a dragon. And many of the reptilians are small enough to actually create natural half breeds. Okay. I mean, it's a little odd if you ask me, but okay. But is it possible that somebody is part dragon or part reptilian? Absolutely. Okay. Would they be part of one of the grand elders? Not a prayer. Okay, not in my eyes anyway. So we've got a lot of things that are there's a lot of things that the moment you say possible. Hey Trace, didn't see you coming in there. Glad you could join us. Hey Shadow. One of the neat things about the way this world is going is doors are opening. People are starting to ask questions. Okay. I'm guessing that is a football. I'm taking it or am I just not reading it? Because what you've written looks like before the Theos bought it, so I'm guessing that should have been Feds. The answer to your question, though, football, is it's not so much the Amityville house that was the problem. Okay, and the Amityville property is the problem. Okay, and yes, there were all kinds of complications there before even a house was built on it or the feds got involved. Okay, it is built on an ancient site. Now, whether anybody knows about it or not, I don't know. Okay, I can tell you that buried under the dirt is the remnants, and I'm talking about under the foundation of the Amityville site, is the remnants of a summoning circle that, in all fairness, was never closed. Net result, Amityville, it's one of those places that I personally wouldn't mind going and taking a look at. Of course, I've been known to be a little twisted. Oh, Shadow. You'll see it if you look back, but this is specifically for you. Picked up this little monster. Perfect rendition of the Alpha Draconis or the Sarkon. Okay. These guys are like, this is an absolutely brilliant representation of it. I just stumbled across that one today. I think that means I've got to leave my house though, and that's where I run in. I'm actually getting better at it. But I don't have myself. I just don't fear that sort of thing. Oh, well, thanks for clarifying that, Eric. Told you I'm rather obtuse in a lot of the information that goes with this. But the thing is, my dad used to worry because I don't fear the metaphysical at all. I had a chap identifying himself as Mephistopheles show up at my house one day, told me I was supposed to be afraid of, or that I would be afraid of him, and I told him he'd have to wait till after lunch and I'd get back to him on it. That didn't go over well for him. But I was doing an awful lot of expanding in I've got the pictures from Races of the Worlds done. I expanded 10 pages in the Return to Paradise, and I've got another series I'm working on that is coming along quite nicely, but it's going to be a while before it comes out. But it really boils down to figuring out how much room you've got. I've got to take some measurements because I might be able to upgrade down the road if I set things up right to get a real, like a proper sized computer monitor. I mean, like huge. But what I've been working on here, let's get that out of the way because I don't need it there. And again, I've been trying to get stuff turned around here. One of the biggest problems I've run into is trying to orchestrate what's going to be the priority. Now, where it comes to this chap Defio, I read the story. I read the story of the Amityville Horror. I watched the movie. Haven't been to the house yet. At least more to the point, haven't been physically to the house yet. One day, possibly. It's also very, very realistic that I'm going to end up at some point looking at getting to Ireland and going back to where I died in 1833. That ought to be a trip and a half. My other half wants to go with me. Although, in all fairness, she's not going to be able to see anything when we get over there. At least it's not likely. But, the way things are going at this point, life is going to get very screwy. You're going to see a lot more comments coming over the news and over the internet about new sightings coming up and more purportedly concrete information. Okay, concrete information regarding contact. Yeah, and if I had 1.46 million, I mean, if I had 1.46 million, I wouldn't have bought it. If I had, 3.46 million, I'd have probably bought it in a heartbeat. Because to my way of thinking it, I've had spirits come to my house that I've actually invited in because they had nowhere else to go. How's that for an open door policy? I realize you're dead, but come on in. Yeah, football's going scared of attachments. See, the neat part is once you know how to alter the energy flow in your body, you can actually dislodge attachments right away. Okay. It's actually quite a simple technique once you know how to do it. Yeah, there's no doubt there. That thing is going to remain in notoriety forever. Okay. Even after it finally falls apart, it will end up holding it. You know, the neat part of any fear you have in the metaphysical world or in the paranormal world. Okay, any what I'm looking at now, I've got a new setup for the computer coming in, and I've already told the guy this computer I'm working on. I'm simply getting him to install to make sure all the programs I require on the new computer are in place. All the access files, the computer I'm on right now, I'm leaving in place. I'll be using it for gaming. Nathan, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, I'm pretty certain. Do you ever get a day off, Nathan? I mean, it's funny because it seems you're almost working as much as I am, and I'm not even employed. Oh, yeah. Kind of. I actually thought you were trying to say I'm here, but hey, I can work with I'm late. I will be having Windows 11 on the new computer, yes. Okay, but then I'm running Windows 11 where I am. Yeah, isn't that always the case though? But yeah, I'm just looking at Nathan. He says I get Thursday to Saturday off, but I always seem to be driving. Pity help you if there's a gas shortage. But no, when I take a look at what I'm getting organized, the new computer, it has, and the specs on it are simple. It's got an i5 processor, 20 gigabyte of, I think they called it solid. No, it's a solid state hard drive, 20 gigabyte of RAM. Okay, I have no idea if it's got any actual onboard video RAM, but I don't require it. Nice, Derek. Yeah, I'm still trying to get. Okay, because unfortunately, the people that were supposed to help crippled a lot of what I was doing, which is why I haven't gotten things back up on Amazon, because they absolutely crippled me getting there. I have no doubt about that at all, Derek. My problem is, if I think about it realistically, I never put any weight behind my finances. I lived day to day. I knew what I was doing. I didn't lack for anything, really. But I didn't plan ahead. Okay, and that's why I'm in the boat I'm in right now. Although that doesn't seem to be stopping me from doing a whole lot. The reality is I have to be careful with what I'm up to. but everybody should be, in all fairness. So right now, I'm starting to figure out how to actually advertise, how to get word out. Unfortunately, it's a slow process. Okay. And without a shadow of a doubt, the people that have, the corporations that have said they were going to help me, have all dropped the ball in a massive, expensive way for me. And now I'm trying to work around it. And that's just the sad reality of it. So I will bring things together as I can, but it's going to be an ongoing process and a real learning curve, if you will. One of the things that I look at right now, what do I got here? That can actually sit down here. I did find out why my cell phone is acting up, though. It's simply getting old. One of the things that we look at when I'm looking at writing, okay, and I was talking about this the other day. I pick a direction, and this is what I've done with the new series I'm working on. Is I simply started in one place, I'm letting it write itself. I don't know where it's going entirely. I know where it ends, but I don't know the path it's going to follow to get there. With the birth of the wolf pack, all I did was started off in the, then everything else fell into place. The football apartment block I'm in will not permit pets. Well, technically they would. Okay, I could put in, and for a half month's rent, or a half month's rent's damage deposit, I could bring a pet in. The reality of it is, I don't have the mindset to raise pets properly. Okay, I get along great with them. As a matter of fact, I get along with animals better than I do people in a lot of cases. But the apartment block doesn't even let you have a goldfish in this building. Okay, which to my way of thinking is not a big problem. So it's simply a question of, do I have pets? No. But and I've got all kinds of birds that live outside my window, as well as a squirrel and a couple of raccoons that keep coming by. 14 quail that live underneath the hedge in front of my office window. So do I have a lack of? It's just my experience on this world deal. But do I look at, I look at with pets, whether it's cats, dogs, rats, doesn't matter. They're fuzzy little people with 4 legs. Ultimately, football, you are right. I've got a squirrel. There's a black squirrel right around here that as fall rolls around, he'll come over, at least I think it's a he, will come over. He'll stop at my window and hold up, and he'll sit there and chitter until I look up and notice him so he can show me the seed he's collected. Nathan, the reason for the lag is probably because I'm on Wi-Fi. Now, that's one of the upgrades I'm doing with the new computer system. Okay. See, the unfortunate part is my router is on the other side of 2 walls in that direction. Now, if my door were open, it would carry a little easier, but then it would interrupt my son. This is one of the reasons it was set up front, but I've had to move to the back of the house. But I do have a router that's going to be put in, but that goes in on Saturday. So with a little bit of luck, okay, if things go functionally well, I'll be on the new system on Saturday night. I don't know for certain at this point. What I do know is I'm going to do my best because the tech is coming over he's coming over first thing Saturday. No, coming over about noon on Saturday to get everything installed. And we'll see how that goes. But the lag is in all likelihood on my end. And again, there's not much I can do about it at this stage. But I will tell you what I'm working on right now. I'm being so far behind. Last year just threw me because I sunk thousands of dollars into companies that claimed they were going to help with my marketing. They did not do a single thing except cripple my access to the internet. That's where the biggest problem comes in. At this point, I'm looking at a major problem trying to get that sorted out. What is this? I'm just curious. Because even while I was getting things set up for the internet, I'm standing back here. When I was getting the new computer, I've got a 5 terabyte hard drive, but I also picked up one of these neat little things. What do we got here? Joe says, it seems somehow my question got deleted by... okay. Okay, Joe's asking, it seems somehow my question got deleted when I reset. What do I do if I see something very bad happen in the woods at night? If it scares me, just in case, to be prepared. Well, it depends on 2 factors. Number one, this is going to sound like almost a practical cop-out, but if it involves what you're certain are people, then absolutely phone the authorities and get them to check it out. They may not do anything, but it's your best bet. It's so much better than walking out there and dealing with it yourself. That'd be first and foremost. Now, if you're seeing something that you're attributing to the netherworld or the offworlders, okay, if they're not coming to you, you may be best advised to, unfortunately, if you're not feeling equipped to deal with them, it's best not to walk into the back in. If the Experience Your Speak conference, we had an attempted, we'll try English, an attempted abduction that a whole pile of us got in the middle of and stopped from happening. Okay, which worked out well for the individual in question. And no, I'm not about to tell you names. But that's your best bet. Like I said, if it seems to be of human in nature there, Joe, I'm a firm believer. Phone the authorities. Okay, they may not be able to do anything. They may look at it and go, you're completely whacked. Assume they're going to look at you that way. It'll make it easier to deal with it. Okay, but where it comes to the netherworld or the offworlders, or even for that matter, some of the darker ancient races, then you may find that stepping back and just not drawing attention to yourself is, you may look at that and go, but I'd want somebody to step in, and this is great. Okay, but it's only great if you're capable of dealing with it. Otherwise, it puts all of you in danger, possibly more so than they would have been. Okay, now I'm not saying turn a blind eye, because the last thing I end up doing when something negative happens like that, especially in the spiritual realm, I've had too many people come to me going, I feel like my life is in danger because of a spirit. I just don't turn a blind eye to it. Yeah, that unfortunately, Nathan, is all too common. See, the reality from my standpoint is, from that end, you got to look at it and look at the people in that position, thinking it's rank. Most people in that position are taught to think in logical terms. They are not taught to think in critical thinking terms. Okay, and for me, if I'm not amused, I open my mouth, put my foot in it all the way to the hip, and then try to figure out how to get the other one in. So I'm looking at this. When you're having something that throws you off kilter, you call somebody that has taken a position, taken up a job that should put them in the front lines. Okay, now I'd love to say phone the military, but that doesn't work well. Yeah, I don't blame you there, Nathan. It was funny because when I was asked to look into something with the police, we actually found the evidence we were looking for. But the moment we found it, he got transferred out of the area, which only led me to believe, wholeheartedly, that what we had found was real, and somebody didn't want it uncovered. So I'm taking a look at I'm looking at how my world is right now. In the last, and I've been debating whether or not to push limits, but in the last number of months, in the last couple of weeks, I have racked up my credit card bill and paid it off. Okay, I just put about $700 worth of food into my house. So yeah, I am stockpiled. I don't have to worry about food in my house at all at this point. Keith, does the abyss really gaze back when you gaze at it? In a manner of speaking, I voice the answer is yes. And the reason I say that is because when you look into the abyss, when you look into that black spot in the world, okay, it does have a certain amount of sentience to it. Okay, and it does seem to be doing the reverse analysis. When you're looking into the abyss, you gotta ask, what are you looking for? Are you looking for some guidance for you? Are you looking for the answer to what lies beyond? Or are you trying to figure out how to capitalize on making it work for you? Okay, it all comes down to an issue of your intent will come back at you. If you're simply looking to understand it and you're reaching out, it will reach out to understand you. Because you got to remember, when we take a look at a one-way mirror, people that are trying to see through a one-way mirror, the people on the other end are already looking through. Okay, and it's that intention that gets it's that intention that gets their attention. Okay, but the abyss is a neat little place. It does defy temporal and spatial, definition, if you will, because it exists in a state that is a little off kilter from that. But is it workable? Is it a way to get real solid insight into your own heart? Absolutely. Okay, one of the neat things that I'm finding, and this is why I've been turning to doing a lot more of the writing. Yeah, no doubt. I got a kick out of that when I was on Nathan's show there. I actually managed to send him a picture of the Kleeklok, of the Mantis people. Okay. So, and it was the picture that will be in the Races of the Worlds. When I get the second printing out. So that's the next real big step. Since the pictures are almost done, I've got a couple more things that have to be done with them, but that's minor. As in, artists would, and quite frankly, you've seen him in here a couple of times. Chris comes in here once in a while. Okay. And I've got to get him the actual names for some of these races. Well, it would be, because you got to remember something, Nathan. The Kleeklok have a multifaceted eye. Okay, very much like the Talon, I believe. Should call that up just so I don't stick my foot in my mouth. Oh, Lord knows I'm going to do that anyway. Yeah, we have lag on that computer. That's not fun. Minimize that. And where is row research? No, they really don't translate well for comprehension. It'd be nice if they did, but you gotta remember, they do not see the world in the same light. Where are we here? Way down, T. Historian. There we are. So yeah, the Talon are another race. They're just a weird setup. But you're looking at something that looks through the eye and through eyes that don't translate to humanoid behavior. Where is what I'm looking for? There it is. Yeah. Talk about going a funny direction there, Nathan. Nathan just saying I cold called a mantis person. And it's one thing to believe in them, it's another to have what you consider concrete proof. Okay. I mean, picture what, if you will, what happened in my case. Where did my bin go? Right there. Picture what happened in my case. You take a 6-foot figure, and picture how much you're going to look at there. When this shows up beside you and you walk into the room, you look up to it and go, that's not the way this is going to work. Okay. These guys have no choice. They're going to look down on you. Okay. They have no functional choice at all, but we got to remember, at that height, what option do they have unless they lay down? Well, the funny thing there, Nathan, the funny thing there is that the Kleeklok are an extremely patient people. They just look at the world very different is all. What have we got here? I just missed something, I'm sure of it. Oh, there is no question there at all, Eric. I am constantly, boy, does that ever have a lousy picture. I am really looking forward to having a better picture there. I am constantly under watch, not only by the off-worlders, but by many of the Terran governments. I mean, let's face it. Before Donald Trump, and I realize that's a sore spot for a lot of people. Before he became the president of the U.S., he already had a complete dossier on me. Hey, Christine, glad you could join us. He already had a full dossier on what I was up to, on what I was dealing with. Okay. And then, of course, the CIA decided to show up here in Canada on my doorstep looking for me by name. So is this an interesting situation? Yeah, but is it one that I worry about? No, not much point in worrying about it. This is why I said I don't, one of the things I refuse to do is talk about the active thought process of trying to overthrow government or any corporation for that matter. As I get things moving, and with it, I'm using the new computer system as a guideline for where things are changing. Carlino, how you doing? Glad you could join us. The fact of the matter is, I'm kept tabs on by a lot of people. And, the neat part, like I was asked one day if I ever felt like I was being followed. I went, yeah, all the time. And the woman in question, she goes, well, when you think you're being followed, where do you look? I said, I look behind me and up on the rooftops. I said, but that's normal. And she goes, no, that is not normal. She said, that only happens in about 1% of the population. Okay. So we talked for a bit. Turned out she worked for MUFON. Okay. And it was funny because she asked, I made a comment about technology, and she goes, what kind of education, what kind of people do you hang around with? So I explained it a little, and, that was an interesting conversation, but I don't know where she is at this point. A lot of people probably get mad when I talk about the moon. The funny part about it is I can't do the only thing that I can tell people. Yeah, no doubt, Eric. It's like I joke with my kid. I says I was wrong once. I thought it was wrong and I wasn't. The reality of it is, but where it comes to the moon there, football, the reality is I cannot control what other people think, what they get, what they are content with, what they're upset with. Okay. All I can do is be honest with my outlook on it and hope that's enough to work with. But it's like I've told people, I make every single person I ever meet happy. Some of them by showing up, most of them by leaving. Okay. So what I'm doing at present, I'm looking at taking a lot of the information that I've got and getting it down in writing. This is one of the biggest projects I've got on the go. And, in answer to that question you haven't gotten around to asking, Eric, as soon as I've got the new computer system in, I am going to look at installing, what is it called? Steamworks or something like that, something to that effect. Okay. I'll end up needing somebody to help set the thing up. Right. But I will be looking at adding that, like I mentioned, as soon as I first started talking about getting a replacement computer. I will look at getting that installed. But all this new computer is going to have, even though it's got 20 gig of RAM and a 1 terabyte hard drive, plus a 5 terabyte external, all it's going to have is my writing, my streaming, and my YouTube channel, the writing, and I might I'll put Steam on the other one, but there might be something extra. There we go. Oh, great. Yeah, that's just it. I understand SteamYard is apparently really good. My problem is trying to wrap my brain around things like that. I may understand I may understand the subquantum side of things, but modern tech is a massive problem. And I don't have a holographic interface. That would be really nice. They do exist, just not in full production on Earth yet. But we've been talking, Eric, for years about sitting down and just opening a can of worms on air and see what comes of it. Oh, heck, Joe, I go outside in the dark on a full moon, on a new moon. I go out in the dark when it's absolutely overcast. I go out in daylight, I'll get lost. So from my standpoint, I don't go out for a lot of reasons, and that's one of them. I can get lost real easy. I've been in the same city. I've been in Kelowna now for 40 years. Last year, I got lost half a dozen times in downtown core. Yeah, Eric's going, it's very user-friendly. I don't have patience with software either, but I had no trouble. I hope. Yeah, I really do. But like I said, I've told people, I was very clear cut about it. I will I will install it and come on board with it once I've got the new computer installed. And that happens in like 5 days here. What are we? I think we're on Monday. I just got to find out what day of the week I'm working on. I have trouble with what day of the week I'm working on anyway. Yeah, we're on Monday. So on the 29th, at about noon on the 29th, I get the new computer system. I mean, it's already here, but we're going to upgrade it at that point. That'll work out nicely, and I got no problem with screen sharing with you. The funny thing is, I would rather screen share with somebody that I know than a so-called professional technology company. I do have a local guy to deal with that's going to come in and deal with the computer. But where it comes to software like this isn't what he does. This is specialty software. At least not from what I understand. So we'll see how that works. But as soon as I've got it up and running, I'll let people know. So right now, I'm in the middle of tying things together to really push through. Let me see. I think I've got it up here. Nope, that's not the one I had up. So we open that. Let's get this one back up and running so I can give you the actual information. Desktop. There we are. Yeah, so am I, Eric. I mean, we've had some really twisted conversations on occasion, but it's been, and there is no telling where the conversation's going to go. Guys, if you think I go off on a tangent, you should see what Eric and I end up doing. It's like we'll be going down that road, and all of a sudden we're 3 blocks over and 2 blocks north. It goes. Yeah, we'll get it up and running. I'm just looking at. There we are. Yeah, it changed when Word changed its format. It didn't change the words, but it changed the spacing and what have you. And by the look of it, I'm working on page 188 of 316. It used to be 392, but the wording is all still the same thing. Well, I sure hope not. The reality of it is, the moment I start looking at the way this world is, the second somebody says it should, technology should work this way, everything after should, I usually throw out the window. But no, when I do the second printing of The Birth of the Wolf Pack, oh, I lied. I'm looking at The Return to Paradise, which is why it's only got 318 pages right now. Sorry, 316. Okay. That's just because of the way it works. I can't picture you doing that, Eric. I just can't picture you walking off on a different tangent. The only thing that I've run into recently in the last few months is people start getting into the political side of what governments are up to and why they're doing it and who's to blame, I don't even bother sticking around for it anymore because it just drives me up the wall. You know, the paranormal I can deal with. The metaphysical I can deal with. The political, and there's a word that goes with it that we're not going to utter here. It is one area, even where it comes to religion, I handle religion better than I do the political side. Yeah, I mean that's the funny thing is I'm still trying to figure out, and we certainly don't have to go into open that door here or there, Eric. But I mean, I'm still looking at the issue of going, why ban you? I mean, I know if something happened, I was never told what, and I didn't bother to ask about what, because to me, it didn't make a whole lot of difference. That funny little thing about do unto others as you desire them to do unto you, I don't open certain doors. But now, like I'm looking at this, and I have started, by the way, what books am I actually working on? Right there. I got a lot on the go, but right now, and this is why I don't end up with a lot of time to myself, I think, because I've got the Return to Paradise is in full production. That's installment 3. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, but I did end up sending you the copy of The End of an Epoch, did I not? I ended up losing track of what I've done where on occasion, in case you hadn't noticed. But I've got Return to Paradise on the go. I'm in the middle of writing. I've actually written the first two chapters of Believe in Your Finances, as far as showing people step by step how to regain control over them. Okay, how to get them back in your control, as in the difference of getting them back in somebody else's control. Okay. I've got a new series I'm working on that is in full writing production right now. Oh, you haven't got The End of an Epoch yet? This is terrible. I'm going to have to rectify that. Where is... And no, I'm not going to repeat it on air here. I am going to have to... I've either got to go back through my records, or if you would be kind enough... here, I'll show you something. If you will be kind enough to send me your address again. Let's try not to break my neck. What do you think? If you'd be kind enough to send me your address again. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great, Eric. And this I will get out to you this week. That's the sequel. It picks up right literally after where The End of an Epoch ends, or where the Birth of the Wolfpack begins, or ends. Birth of the Wolfpack ends. This picks up literally right after it. I actually thought I'd sent one to you already, but apparently not. But I keep getting set back on things. The nice part about it is it takes on a whole the whole series has taken on its own little venue. The problem is that the people that were supposed to help me get it to market, all they did was crippled me from being able to get it to market. But I am waiting for a call to get a copyright lawyer involved and get control of my book back so I can market it properly. Because I'm done playing games with it. It's absolutely ridiculous from my end. But the way I've set the thing up, I'm in the middle right now on the Return to Paradise. I'm on page 188 of expanding it. I just came across an interesting little glitch that I've got to deal with. Okay, I've already got it tied off, so it's filling in the inside that I've got to finish. And of course, last year sent me backwards. Okay, but on the plus side, in spite of financial hiccups and what have you, my editor, I managed to just literally get her paid completely up to date on it, so we don't have that little hiccup. Okay, I mean, it's never been a problem from her end anyway. But things are changing, and the reality of it is, if you desire your world to change, you have to decide what you're aiming for. You don't have to know where it's going to go in the long run. All you really have to identify is, are you content with the way your world is working right now? That's all you got to figure out. Okay, because once you know if your world is working the way you desire it to, okay, do I have it in here? I'm just looking. No, it's got to be in the other room. But that's okay. I will get that sorted around. But when you take a look at your world, we'll catch up with you, Eric. I have to do the same thing periodically. It's like, okay, I've got something I have to deal with here. But no, take a look at the way your world is sitting and ask yourself, are you content with the path your life is on? That's all you got to figure out. People tell you you've got to have a plan, know where you're heading. You don't have to. Okay? There is no way you're going to adjust to be able to compensate for everybody else's opinion or everybody else's input. All you can do is go, okay, I'm content with where my life is going. Or I'm not. If you're content, carry on. You're one of the few on the planet. Okay? If you're not content, then it is time to start turning things around and go, okay, what is in my way? Okay? Which is why right now I've got this mess on my hands. Let me see here. I'm going to minimize this one. And right there. Because I'm going through to make sure I've got everything transferred onto soft copy. But I've taken a look at where my world is. Yeah, Tracy just saying, Keith, I was in my way. Most of us are. Most of us really are. I actually stepped in on a person the other day, and I said, look, you're in trouble. You don't like accepting help. I'm no longer interested in it. Okay, because you're in trouble. Now, this is from, in my case, I do not have the funding that I'd like to have. And I certainly don't have the funding I should have, given the amount of money I've already spent striving to get it. But the catch to it when you're changing your life path is figure out what you're not content with. Okay, which is why I've got this neat little thing set up here. So I've got this here. And today it is 5. We've gone through an hour and a half. Today has gone extremely fast. But let me ask you this, Trace. You say you were in your own way. Do you have any recollection as to how you identified the fact that you were the cause of the biggest cause of your hiccups? Because I know from my standpoint, it was a real wake up call when I'm sitting there going, I've showed people how to walk out of this mess. Why am I still in it? But I figured it out from the standpoint of stuff in my office is getting wiped clear and sorted around so I don't have to worry about it. That's the neat part. And let us see. Oh, I don't have it open. So how about if we do this? Call that up and open that. And we are just opening up Facebook right now. I do not know who that is, but holy mackerel. All kinds of things going on. I tell you, I drop off Facebook for a couple of days and I end up backlogged like there's no tomorrow. Hey, Big, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, that would do it, Trace. I remember doing something similar to that. I woke up one morning and went, I could continue looking to blame everybody else and say it's all somebody else's fault. Ultimately, I'm the one that's been doing it. Okay. To be blunt about it, I was the one that trusted people, that trusted corporations to do what their salespeople said they would. Oh Lord, I've had that more often than I care to count. They don't come down and literally knock on my door. Okay. But they will do it from the they'll do it from the sky overhead. My son even has recognized it. And he looks at me and goes, Dad, it's really hard keeping things organized. Well, the one thing I will tell you there, Trace, cursing yourself is a cute thought, but it is really counterproductive. You are far better off looking in the mirror, looking in the mirror and going, okay, I made some miscalculations. I cannot change the way they've been. I can't do a thing about what I did in the past. All I can do at this point is go, this is where I made the hiccups. And I nearly made another big one today. Okay, so I've reined that in, so I won't be dealing with that. But I've got other things I've got to change to make sure that my life does what I desire it to do. Not the least of which is being able to walk into a restaurant again and just look at the table and go, I'm paying for that, and then walk out. Okay. And, the reality is, I don't need to stick around because I don't require the recognition. This is not a question of mine going, oh, give me a pat on the back and tell me I'm doing something right. Okay. Because that's not what it's all about. The worst thing that I've found you can do for yourself is beat yourself black and blue, and metaphorically speaking, and beat yourself black and blue, and turn around and berate yourself constantly for what you should have done. Okay, you got to remember, if your life is not doing exactly what you're aiming for, yeah, there are things you could have done, but you did the best you could with what you had. And yeah, there are those of us that look at it and go, but I knew better. So did I. 5 years before the company I was working for closed. Okay. 5 years before the company closed, I saw the company coming to a close. You would have thought that I would have done something to get my finances organized then. And I will tell you, the other thing I found worked extremely well is as I was getting rid of the clutter in my house, the energy flow all of a sudden started to run a lot more smoothly. Energy level got up. I got more accomplished. And yes, I still have this problem of getting overwhelmed. Things are not absolutely perfect on my end by any functional stretch. But when the books start to sell, then I will know that I'm actually making headway. The unfortunate part is the shipping is an absolute royal pain. And the reality of it is, as I get things organized to a better run, I will drop things down. But it's a question of finding ways to do it. The nice part about it is once you have figured out what you're not content with in your life, okay, you can start making changes right away. Okay. Now, I've got a lot of backlog work to do. Matter of fact, let me just see here. If I'm looking, because I got to go through these old files I've got and mark down which ones actually work. I've got so much backlog paperwork. Well, I showed you guys a while ago the stack of UFO information I've got. Okay. And I've got to go through it and get it transferred over. But of course, the fact the computer was having troubles created a little bit of a hiccup, as it were. Now, I'm just going to put this out there to you because honestly, guys, turning to professionals has proven to be a monumental waste of time and money. So, if any of you guys have an idea as to how to get word out, as to how to get visibility out more effectively regarding the books I've been writing, any insight would be really appreciated. Okay. The reality of it is, will I turn back to another so-called professional? No. Okay, not with a whole lot of front loading. The biggest problem with changing your life, and this is where I started everything to change mine in the first place. Pick a time to get up in the morning. Never mind when you're going to bed. Pick a time to get up. Okay, you get up in the morning, go to the washroom, do what you have to start with, come back, get dressed, get your bed made. I kid you not, that is the backbone to how I started changing things around. Okay, by literally doing that. Okay, it does work. And then you start off, and I keep making the mistake of going, let's get 17 things on the list. This is a bad idea. The reason that whole thing about getting up in the morning works is because you're overcoming the biggest obstacle you will ever face in your entire life. Okay. And that is your own stubborn disposition. We all know the feeling. You wake up in the morning, you're a little groggy. I don't want to get up, especially in the winter. I don't want to get up because I'm warm where I am. Okay. This is where you take that stubborn streak and go, I'm getting out of bed. I'm getting things accomplished and I'm getting them done now. I will tell you, I've mentioned multiple times, guys, and I do this regularly. I've done it again here. What have we got here? I'm looking at the wrong sheet. That's why. Yeah. Hey, Eric. Glad you're back. Yeah, that's just it. That's just it, Christine. Okay, what they teach you inside, don't take this the wrong way. I mean, Lord knows I've told enough psychiatrists and psychologists the same thing. But what I came to understand, Well, in all fairness, Christine, I'm on Wi-Fi right now, and that causes a real problem. You know, but no, what I found with most psychology and psychiatry professionals and students, okay, is this. Most of them are what I call textbook professionals. You give them 2 textbooks and they can get the textbooks to get along. But most of what you get taught, and I was actually forbidden. I was literally told by the authorities, and I don't know who it was. Somebody of authority absolutely told me you cannot take any form of psychology, as there are enough professionals playing around inside your head. We do not need some amateur screwing it up. Okay, but most of what people are taught in books doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, Eric goes, I love Psych 101 class. It was a core requirement for my BS. You know, Eric, I always thought you had the BS down pat before you got into college. It's nice to know they actually teach it, though. See, the thing I don't have is I don't have the list of people. I don't have the list of people that decided who electrocuted what dog and beat the heck out of it to make it drool first. Okay. I don't have those those lists. All I've got is, I don't know. I look at it going, my memories date back a staggering level. Yeah, statistics are an interesting thing. I've forgotten all my information where it comes to statistics, Christina. I majored in business and English. Derek, you are a young sprog. You really are. Hey, Kimberly, glad you could join us. I hope your day has been going well. The funny thing is, when I look at people at an age like that, Derek, I go, okay. Now, I have no doubt what your mind is doing, what your heart is doing. Physically, we can safely say that your body has made it to 259. Yeah, well, that's just it. I'm dog years. Well, that would do it. Okay, dog years we can work with. See, that one we can actually calculate. Can actually do it in my head. I'm just lazy. Yeah, see, by that definition, I'm 420. I kind of figured that's what you were going with there, Derek. My kid keeps coming to me. Somebody will be saying something, and he'll look at me, and my son will look at me and go, "Dad, that was a joke." I mean, 9 times out of 10, I miss the poor things. Well, yeah. See, I got a kick out of algebra I liked when I was in grade 10. My math teacher turned around and he says, Keith, go up to the front of the class and show them how you solve this algebraic and this compound algebraic equation. So I walked up to the front of the class. I read the equation, wrote the answer down, and started decompiling it from the bottom up. Teacher stopped me about halfway down. I still had this much room on the blackboard. And the teacher says, What are you doing? So I'm showing the class how I solved the problem. He goes, Well, where'd you get the answer from? I says, Right, isn't it? He goes, Well, yes, it's right, but where did it come from? I said, I don't know, I'm working on it. He told me to go sit down and never called me to the front of the class again. Something about I took him a little too literally. Because the way I've always done math is you look at the equation and go, there's the answer. What is this? Well, there were a number of thoughts that went through my mind. Being a dirty old man? No. See, I get a kick out of it. They say now the oldest recorded human recently passed away at 122. Problem is that 20 years ago, there was a gentleman that passed away that was 149. He had actually come across on the slave boats. Christine is just asking, do you have time when you go to bed and wake up, or does it vary based on how well you slept? I still have a problem with debating whether I sleep, but I go to bed when I'm tired. I usually find that what'll happen is I'll go to bed somewhere, and this is a wide range, between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., and I'll be up somewhere between usually 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. But do understand, it's quite often I'll end up grabbing a nap in the afternoon as well. What is this? My first grandson is that way with math. If A plus B equals C, he can get to C without middle steps. Yeah, encourage him to do it. We absolutely can, Kimberly. Let me clear things out of the way, because I've got my calendar now right beside me. So I can actually start dealing with that sort of thing without going very far. But unfortunately, I ended up burying my desk here. One of the drawbacks of trying to bring things into play. So I just get up over here. Do not require that. We are right now on... Got to come back to that. But tomorrow is Tuesday. Let me think here. Oh, tomorrow I won't be here, so that won't work. The answer there. Where are we here? Where are we? Yeah, let me think. Tomorrow I am occupied. Wednesday, do I have anything? Not that I'm aware of. Tuesday I've got a meeting at 4, which means I won't be on. I've got a meeting with the bank. Yeah, I'm telling you, Joe, with only being 43 years old, okay, if your great nephew is a year old, I can see why you're thinking and why you're feeling a little old. Okay. I haven't even got a grandson at this point. Matter of fact, in all fairness, I'm not even entirely certain either of my kids have a girlfriend. See, I'll be, you give me another couple of weeks and I'll hit another couple of weeks. Just shy of 3 weeks. Because I turned 60 on the 13th. I'm just thinking here. Thursday shot. Way back up. There we are. Kimberly, just to put that in perspective, I will try for Wednesday. Okay, assuming I am on Wednesday, we'll deal with reincarnation on Wednesday. Otherwise, we'll hit it on Friday. Can you believe we are only a week and a half away from being back on Spaced Out? Okay, Kimberly, just to be clear, I've scheduled in for Wednesday because I won't be here tomorrow. But if I can't do it if we don't get it done on Wednesday, then we'll tangle with reincarnation and its impact on. We'll go through it because each life has a direct impact on your current one. Okay, so we will deal with that either when I'm going to try for Wednesday and get it racked off because there's a number of ones that I've been putting off. My coffee is empty. Mind you, I'm not going anywhere because we're winding things down pretty quick here, I think. Where are we? Yep. But the reality is, and I will tell you this. This funny little book here, actually it's this one. This funny little book here, some of you would recognize it. That is an ephemeris. The way it was taught to me when I learned how to deal with astrology at all. Okay, this book gives you a report card from your last life. It tells you what skills you were brought in with. What skills you graduated your last life with that you may or may not be able to put to use this lifetime. Dara, yeah. That's the one area that we're going to have to agree that there is a whole lot that is misunderstood there. A whole lot that people don't get until they get over to the dead side. Let me ask you this, Derek. Have you by any chance, and I know this is going to sound like an odd question, but have you yourself actually clinically died this lifetime yet? Hopefully not. Yeah. Joe's going, I'm starting with the gray hairs. And wearing glasses. I'm old. Joe, if that were the case, I was actually old when I was 16. I got my first gray hairs at 13 or at 16. I was late. My dad started getting them at 14. Well, we will absolutely get into that side of it. It just goes hand in hand there, football. The NDEs come in side by side. Okay. But I will tell you what people have been taught about, and many people that teach about past lives, quite frankly, have either never been there or have had their entire outlook skewed by what other people have told them to expect. See, I gave up on the NDE. From my standpoint, near death usually means you get close and then you come back. I said, to heck with it. I went way on the other side. Let's face it, I was dead long enough at 5 years old to end up in the morgue. Now, you got to be dead a long time for that. And if Eric's listening in, he may even be able to tell you how long you got to be dead before they ship you to the morgue. For me, it was just like, okay, well, this is a different place to be, and I didn't want to stay there, so I left. This is not a good thing to do. When the first of the original zombie apocalypse movies came out, okay, they started coming out, and somebody mentioned the name of it the other day. In late 1966, the first one came, in late 66, the first one came out. In all fairness, iVoice, you do not have, it's not a question of you're allowed to stay there. You can stay there as long as you desire. You've got full reign on when you come back. But the average person, the average human that goes over, takes about 70 Terran years to turn around and come back. Before they get everything organized. But there is no, you have X number of years. Just reading what Eric wrote there. The thing is, when we start looking at past lives and reincarnation, what you're looking at is, there is a difference between belief and experience. But I will warn you on one little detail. Many people will say, well, it's your belief what you experience. And there is that argument, which is why I don't go down that rabbit hole. Way too deep of a rabbit hole. I keep putting that in the wrong place. I'm hoping the grass was really tall there, Joe. My dad had an easy way to find us in the summer if we laid down and hid in the grass. Dad take the ride of lawnmower out, and you can bet you'd get up and move. But reincarnation is one of these neat little things that can shape the way people are looking at the world. Henry, how you doing? Well, you cut that one. You cut that a little tight, didn't you? But then my schedule's been a little screwy. Just so you don't have to go back and listen to get it. Henry, I will not be on tomorrow. I've got a meeting I've got to be at. Uh-oh, strange question. That's always fun. Did anyone fall down the stairs last night? I certainly didn't. I don't have stairs in my house anymore. I haven't had them because I'm in an apartment, ground floor, no stairs, I'm safe. I appreciate that, Eric. All I knew was I ended up having a problem, and next thing I know, I'm waking up in the morgue. Actually, in all fairness, I thought it was in a barracks, but Dad clarified that and went, "No, that was a morgue." Well, that will hurt. See, now if you asked if I ever fell down the stairs when I was a child, I don't know if you want to call it falling. I mean, technically I fell, but I can't tell you how many times I was pushed down the stairs, nor how many plate glass windows I went through, because we had a plate glass window at the bottom of the staircase, and I spent a lot of time on the other side of that window. But we are hitting the 2-hour mark here, guys. So I really want to say thank you so much for sharing your time with me. If you like the video, the stream, do give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel. I won't be here tomorrow, but on Wednesday I will be back unless something weird happens. I'm aiming to be back for 4:30 on Wednesday. And, everything falls into place properly. We will deal with reincarnation, with the NDE, with the connection between the whole 9 yards, and how you can absolutely turn things around. Derek, fire away. Let's see. Who is most strongest extraterrestrials and physical power that you know? Well, that is a complicated setup. If I were just looking at the musculature, I would have to say it's a toss-up between the Sargon and the Anunnaki. Okay, but brutality-wise, definitely the Sargon. Brutal, yeah, absolutely yes, but the guys do not like to fight on the whole. That being said, that's on a physical side, but there's a lot of different methods of calculating strength. Okay. Now, that said, guys, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. I will catch up with you ASAP. And until then, hold that thought, Derek, and we will try and deal with and that's one of those neat little things. When you're looking at can they destroy all, in a nutshell, no. there is somebody way bigger than them. There's a lot of people way bigger than them in power levels. But I will catch up with you again. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.